What's up, guys? I'm Joe. Today I'm talking about the new Raconteurs album, Help a Stranger. So Jack White and the gang, the Raconteurs, are back with their first new album in 11 years. Their last record, 2008's Consolers of the Lonely. Since then, Jack White has been pretty busy. He's got his solo material. He was doing some stuff with the Dead Weather. Apparently he was doing heroin. But anyway, the band is back. The first single that came out for this album, Sunday Driver, really had me excited because, not only did this sort of come out of nowhere, the fact that this band was getting back together and doing the thing again, but the tune was really good. It's reminiscent of Steady As She Goes as far as the riff pattern is, but, just different enough to have a life of its own. And it just packs a nice punch. It's nice and energetic, that garagey, classic rock type sound, which is a lot of what you're getting on here. The album isn't groundbreaking by any means, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. I've seen reviews on both sides of the spectrum here. Some people really like it, some people don't. But the way I'm leaning is, like I said, it's not anything groundbreaking, it's not anything spectacular, I would say, but it's just a very solid rock album. And every now and then, that's just what you need, I think. And sometimes it's just refreshing to have like a nice, good rock album. Especially coming off of Boarding House Reach, which was one of Jack's more experimental records to date. And some of that stuff totally out of left field. And I really liked that album too. That was new and that was exciting. And I like that doesn't really encroach on the Raconteurs. They're still doing their thing. The closest I think the sound gets to some of Jack's solo material is a later track in the album, What's Yours Is Mine. Actually one of my favorites on here. Just got a nice groove to it, crunchy riffs. I like that it kind of goes back and forth between these two different sections. And that groovy section in the beginning with just a great pounding drum line. The sound of the drums, too, with that kind of loose snare is just so great. Before breaking into this very groovy, almost Kiss-like sound with cowbell and all. Definitely a cool track. The opener, Bored and Razed, another great one as well, just coming out the gates with a high-energy track. I like the sort of guitar build-up in the beginning between Jack and Brendan Benson, also a singer in the band. It kind of builds up before these monster chords come in, and then you break into this kind of faster, high-energy part, that snare drum kind of dragging and churning things along, kind of like a train pulling out of the station. I really like Benson's vocals on the chorus. That hook has been stuck in my head for a week and a half, and I think it's great. Another thing very prominent on the song and on the album as a whole, something they've always done, is just the great harmony between White and Benson's vocals. Like I said, you hear it throughout the album, and it definitely adds a nice texture to a lot of these songs. I also really like the song Shine the Light on Me. It's a piano-driven track. Just that sort of descending chord progression, I really like the way it sounds. Has definitely a Beatles kind of feel to it. I've seen that comparison going around. It's definitely the case, which some people might think is sort of overdone. I just think it's a pretty solid track. You have some acoustic driven tracks as well, such as the title track, sort of Help Me Stranger. Another nice driving track, but it is very much brought to life by the acoustic sound. And once again on this track, I like the double vocal take, both Benson and White taking the lead here. And I like the sort of burning, bluesy-sounding guitar licks that, make their way through the song. You hear that on the track Some Days as well, which once again, this one's a little slower, but it's very acoustic-led, with those electric lines coming in on the guitar, which is pretty cool. I had praise for the drums on What's Yours Is Mine. I also have praise for the drums on Don't Bother Me. They're like the kind of quick shuffle that's just dragging this track along. Again, garagey, crunchy, dirgy kind of riffs, which is cool. And some nice fills at the end, some nice kind of different techniques going on. The drum sound on some of these tracks is really cool. One complaint I've seen over some reviews, some comments, stuff like that, are the lyrics on this album. I'd agree that there are some, kind of moments that don't really resonate for me. Even on the song Don't Bother Me. I really like the song. I totally agree that refrain, Don't Bother Me, kind of sounds like it's like a get off my lawn mentality. Doesn't really pack a punch lyrically. But that doesn't really detract from the album for me overall. And kind of I never really thought Jack White was the best lyricist anyway, so it's usually about the music for me when I listen to his material. whatever outlet it might be, the White Stripes, the Raconteurs, the solo stuff, the Dead Weather, whatever. You know, so like I said, this is just like an enjoyable rock album for me, and I think that's all right. Hey Jip, the cover on here doesn't really do much. I feel like that doesn't really take off. It kind of sticks out like a sore thumb for me on the album. So that's like, you know, probably my least favorite track on here. And Now That You're Gone is a good, you know, slower bluesy one. It feels like it's sort of stomping along, which is a cool sound. And again, that kind of burning guitar, the little licks and solos that come out throughout. And before going into a pretty melodic chorus line. So another favorite for me on here. Yes, overall, like I said, you know, nothing groundbreaking, nothing blowing your mind. Certainly nothing experimental in comparison with Boarding House Reach. But that's all right. Like I said, every now and then you just need like a meat and potatoes rock album. Especially good for the summertime. So I'm feeling a 4 out of 5 for the Raconteurs' Help a Stranger. Let me know what you think of the album in the comments, whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.